You have made it to cycle 1. For this cycle, we're going to be reading pages 53 to 55. That means that you need to have the book open and ready to go. You also need something to take notes with. So please pause the video and get those ready now. Now that you have your materials, let's start on page 53. Page 53 is the start of chapter 9, called Life is Dangerous. So out we go. It's a habit by now, Freak riding up high on my shoulders and using his little feet to steer me if I forget where we're going. Not that we always know. Freak likes to make things up as he goes along. You think you're just walking down this ordinary sidewalk, and really you're crossing this dangerous bridge, the kind made of vines that hangs high up in the air over a deep canyon. And when Freak makes it up, it seems so real. You're afraid to look down or you'll get dizzy and fall off the sidewalk. Don't ever look down, he says. Just keep your eyes closed. And then he puts his hands over my eyes and tells me to keep walking straight. 1 foot, he says. Now the next. I'm fighting to keep my balance, and his hands are making me dizzy. 1 more step, Freak says. Steady, steady. Now lift up your your foot. There, we made it. And he takes his hands away, and I see we've crossed the street. We're going to pause right there and try to answer this first question here. It wants you to reread these lines from page 53, so I'd like you to pause the video and do that now. I'd like you to tell me what's happening in this scene, and I want you to start your response with the word while. Go. All right, now that you finished that first question, we're actually going to do the second question as well since we've already read that part. What's the technical name for the changes made to this paragraph, and what's the effect of this change? So you can take a moment to read those two, pause the video to do so. And now, the technical name for the change that might seem like, what literary word am I thinking of? I just want you to think about the type of narration that's being used. What is the type of narration that's being used in the original? And what's the type that's being used in the other one? Think first, second, third person. What was it originally? What did it change to? When you're ready, we are going to go back to where we left off in our book. Starting at go east. Go east, he says when I get to the end of the block. That way, mighty steed, yonder lies the east. I go, how do you know which way is east? And then something is glinting in his eye, and Freak is showing me this little compass. The official Cub Scout compass? That's a clever disguise, so you don't know how valuable it is, he says. This is actually a rare and valuable artifact, passed down for generations. Lancelot used it, so did Sir Gawain. And for a time, the Black Knight kept it on a chain next to his heart. I go, so the Black Knight was a Cub Scout, huh? And Freak laughs and says, that way. We go to the east on a secret mission. We walk for miles, way beyond the pond and the playground and the school, and for a while we're going through this really ritzy neighborhood of big white houses and blue swimming pools. Freak keeps saying stuff like, that's the castle of Avarice, and yonder lies the bloated moat. And then we go under trees, and when we go under trees, he'll say, proceed with caution, or all clear, depending on how low the branches come down. We must be east, I say. Have we got to yonder yet? Because my stupid feet are getting sore. But Freak pats me on the head and says, yonder always lies over the horizon. You could look it up if you don't believe me. Oh, I believe you. On and on, block after block, through all these neighborhoods that Freak says are really secret kingdoms. I'll bet we've gone 10 miles at least because my legs think it's 100. And even as light as Freak is, he's starting to feel heavy. We're almost there, he says. Turn at the end of the block. Where is it we're going? You'll see, he says, and you will be amazed. All right, we're going to pause there and finish up our questions here. How does Max react to what Freak is making up, and how does this impact Max's reliability as a narrator. Can we trust him? Pause the video and answer that question. So in this chapter, we hear of going east. So let's read this little excerpt and find out what going east means. Literally, east is one of the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. However, the idea of east has several symbolic meanings. Because the sun rises in the east, the direction east often represents new beginnings or rebirth. East is also associated with various Christian ideas. The Garden of Eden was planted in the east, according to the book of Genesis, and east is associated with Christ, symbolically the light of the world, because of this medieval quest to find the Holy Grail often began with knights traveling east. In relation to Europe, the continent of Asia is also located east, so to Europeans, journeying to the east represents adventure in unknown lands. So knowing that, let's reread this excerpt from page 54. It says, "Go east," he says, when I get to the end of the block. "That way, mighty steed, yonder lies the east." Yonder is some distance farther away, and like Freak said, it's just over the horizon. You never reach yonder. Yonder's always somewhere far away. It's like tomorrow in that, like, it's like tomorrow when you say, "Oh yeah, tomorrow." Tomorrow's never here. We're never on tomorrow. Does that make sense? Based on this whole excerpt, what might Freak be imagining here? I'm going to give you a couple more seconds to try to answer that question. Why might Freak tell Max to go east? So I want you to think about what we just learned with what east means. Why does he tell him to go east? All right, and then where are Max and Freak literally heading? I don't need you to tell me a specific place, but where are they going? Are they really going to some far-off kingdom, or where are they going? And then where are they going in Freak's fantasy? Try to put it in one sentence. Let's now read this excerpt from page 54 to 55. And remember, at any point, if you need more time to answer a question, just pause the video. "We walk for miles, way beyond the pond and the playground and the school, and for a while we're going through this really ritzy means fashionable or fancy, often in a showy way, neighborhood of big white houses and blue swimming pools. Freak keeps saying stuff like, 'That's the Castle Avarice,' and 'Yonder lies the bloated moat.'" Bloated means excessive in size or amount, so it's like really big. And avarice means greed, so a greedy castle. And when we go under trees, he'll say, "Proceed with caution," or "All clear," depending on how low the branches come down. "We must be east," I say. "Have we got to yonder yet? Because my stupid feet are getting sore." But Freak pats me on the head and says, "Yonder always lies over the next horizon. You could look it up if you don't believe me." Oh, I believe you. So I want you to consider this line from the excerpt. Freak keeps saying stuff like, "That's the Castle Avarice," and "Yonder lies the bloated moat." How might these names be connected to the neighborhoods of big white houses and blue swimming pools they are walking through? So knowing that avarice means greed and bloated moat means excessive in size, what does that say about the neighborhood that they're walking through? Pause the video and answer that question. I want you to reread this quote from our Do Now about a hero's quest. A hero ventures forth from the world to common day into a region of supernatural wonder. How might this line apply to Max and Freak in the excerpt above? Have they literally left the world of common day? And how have they figuratively left? So let's break down that question. I want you to answer, have they literally left our world? Have they literally left the common day? And then I want you to also answer, how have they, in their minds, left? When you're done, move on to the next cycle.